Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm LeetCode. If you guys are new here, I pretty much do LeetCode style questions and I explain things in the simplest way possible. Today we have a pretty interesting problem, so let's go ahead and read the problem statement. So it says, given the head of a linked list, right, remove the nth node from the end of the list, right, and return its head, right? It says, can we do it in one pass? All right, we're gonna accept the challenge, okay? And it says pretty much that we're given those examples, right? So right now, we give it a linked list, right? And then they said to remove this second node from the last, right? So that's 4. So we remove 4 when we return the linked list, right? The output linked list. And then just likewise, we're giving 1, right? And they said to remove the last element. Since there's only 1, right? We remove the whole thing. So we return an empty linked list, right? We return null, right? And then this one's pretty good. Same thing, right? We're giving 2 nodes, and then the place where it says to remove the last one because the first one from the last, right, is 2, right? So we remove 2, so we return 1, right? So yeah, so the way we're gonna go about solving this problem, guys, it's gonna be we're gonna use some kind of two-pointer technique, right? I know, but I've introduced you guys before to two-pointer techniques. They can be very helpful in a lot of data structures, right? Arrays, linked lists as well. I did a linked list problem already. I introduced the slow and fast pointers, right? How we can do all the manipulation, guys. So just likewise, that we need to think about how we want to approach that problem. The way that we're going to go about it, right? We're going to loop through the linked list, right? By using two pointers, right? So the first one, right? We're gonna have the first pointer, right? Move n plus 1 steps ahead, right? Of the other pointer, right? So we're gonna call that pointer fast, right? And then the slow pointer is gonna be behind it. So after the fast pointer moves n plus 1 steps, right? We're gonna do another loop, right? To continue to keep looping through, right? As we go. So here's how it's gonna work, right? We are going to have, so we're gonna keep the distance, right? So right now, by the time that when fast gets to be null, right? The slow pointer is gonna be pointing at the element that needs to be removed, right? And we could simply just point on the slow next pointer to point to the other guy's pointer, right? To just remove it from the list. I'm gonna go through an example real quick. I'm pretty sure it's gonna make a lot more sense when I go through the example. So, yeah. So just go ahead and paste my code right here. So as you guys can see, right? So this is a simple example, right? N equals 2, which is this example, and then this is the linked list that's given, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And yeah, so right now we create a dummy head, right? Because we wanna, there's an edge case that if the head, right, of the linked list is is the node that needs to remove. That means that if we didn't create a dummy head, it wouldn't be able to remove that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we have the dummy head to take care of that edge case, guys. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so that's how we're gonna go about it, right? So right now, like I told you guys, right, and just fast go back to where it's at. So initially, so we created a dummy node, right? I did all the problems like that we create dummy nodes when we want to have a new list, right? So we create a dummy node, right? And we have it pointing at negative. So the dummy node's value is -1, right? So it doesn't matter. It could give you any value you need. We just want a dummy node to hold reference to the head, right? So now and then we do dummy head, right? We point it to the actual head, right, of the linked list, right? So that we connect it to it now, right? So now we're gonna do some clever stuff, right? So right now, like I told you guys, right, we're gonna move. So we have just two pointers, right? One called fast and one called slow, right? So right now we're gonna move fast, n plus 1 steps ahead, right? So now n equals 2, right? So we're gonna move it 3 steps, right? So yeah, so we move it 3 steps because, guys, I'm gonna tell you guys why. So right now, so that's 1 step, right? Because it was at -1, and now it's pointing to this one, right? And then now it goes to this one, right? Because pointing at 2. Now that's 2, right? And then we moved again, right? 3. So now it's at 3, right? So now it moves 3 steps, right? And slow is still pointing at -1, right? Yeah, guys. So the reason that we do that, we move it 3 steps ahead, right? Because we want the distance between the slow and the fast to be exactly two nodes, right? And nodes apart, right? So in this case, two nodes apart, right? So we want their distance to be n nodes apart, right? So that once we get to the end, right, the slope pointer can point to the element that needs to be removed, right? Like, so you'll see how it's gonna work out perfectly. So I'm gonna show you guys, right? So now there's two slows. I told you guys slow is pointing at -1, right? And then so -1, and then 3, fast pointing at 3, right? So now we're gonna loop through one step at a time, right? So we gotta keep looping through the array, right? But and also keeping the constant gap, right? Constant distance that they have together, which is 2, right? So we move fast forward, fast as 4, right? And then now slow is at -1, right? Because we moved it 1, 2, right? And then we move fast as well, right? To go to 5, and then slow gets moved as well, right? Now slow's at 2, right? And then we move fast again, right? Fast is null, right? And then we need to move slow as well, right? So now slow is at 3, right? And then fast is null, so we would exit out the while loop, right? Then the next thing that we would do, right? We would so since we want to remove 4, right? The way that we do that, right? We do 3 is that next, right? To point to wherever this guy's next is pointing at, right? So that once we so 3 is that next, right? Points to 4 is that next, right? So now 4 as nobody's pointing at to this node anymore, right? So we will lose reference to it, right? So 3 is pointing to the next node. So now 3 is pointing to 5. You know what I'm saying? So it completely removes 4, right? Because we said we want to point to whichever node is after 4. You know what I'm saying? That's why we point to the 5, right? So now we remove 4 out of the list, right? So this is why we keep the distance apart, guys. You know what I'm saying? So that we could point to the nodes that needs to be removed, its next one, right? So that's how we're gonna go about solving this problem, guys. It's a very clever trick, very slick, actually. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully I was able to explain to you guys, you guys were able to understand and follow through the thought process that I was trying to say, right? So let's go ahead with the code and yeah, let's do that right now. All right, so like I said, guys, we gonna have a dummy node, right? So dummy is gonna go to new list node, right? All right. So if I send 0, right, and then the next thing that we're gonna do, right, we're gonna have those 2 pointers that I talked about. One called slow, right, which is gonna point to the dummy head, right? And then another one that's called fast, that's also pointing to the same node, right? And then I told you guys we need to connect the dummy node, right, to the list, right? So we do dummy that next, right? To the list that we're gonna be looping through, right? So now we do dummy that next, right? So we just created a new node, right? It wasn't pointing at anything, right? It wasn't pointing at anything, right? So now we're gonna so we just created a 0, right? So in this case 0. All right, it doesn't matter. I'm saying it could be any value you want it to be. I'm saying so now we that's what we're doing right now. This step, right? We're connecting it to the list, right? -1, right? So we do dummy next, go to that, right? Head, and then told you guys we're gonna move we're going to move the fast pointer to go to n+1 nodes apart, right? n+1 steps, right? So that it could be n nodes apart. Okay, I++, right? And then yeah, so we do fast. Let's go to fast that next, right? Easy way to loop through, okay? And then now, once we are n nodes apart, right? We're gonna keep looping through until the fast pointer, right, is not equal to null, right? Until it gets to the end of the list, right? And then we're just gonna keep going one step at a time, guys, just like I did in the walkthrough. I'm saying. All right, and do slow. Let's go slow that next, one step at a time. You know what I'm saying. And then once we get to that node that we want to remove, right, we do slow that next, right? Is equal to slow, right? Remember when slow was pointing at 3, right? We did slow that next, right? So its next pointer, right? Its next pointer, right, should be pointing to the my current next pointer, but its next pointer, right? What I'm saying? Yeah, all right, let me show you guys. No, I know this part can be very, very confusing. So yeah, so let me go back to the original thing, right? All right, so remember there was a 40, right? So slow is right there, right? Watch this carefully, right? So slow is right there. So I'm like, cool. I want to get rid of 4, right? So I'm like, 3 is that next, right? So this pointer, right, should be pointing to this guy's next pointer, right? So that we can remove the 4. What I'm saying? Very, very important step. This is exactly what it's doing right there. Slow that next points to my next, right? Yeah, so that's the whole problem, guys. I'm saying. So yeah, so remove it, boom, and then points to 5, and then we're good, right? And then yeah, and then we return, guys. We return dummy head that next, right? Dummy that next, exactly. Okay, so let's see if we pass the small test cases, all right? Perfect. Let's see if we pass all the test cases, guys. Perfect, guys. We're able to pass all the test cases, guys. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you guys found value and you guys, enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a like. If you guys have any questions, in the comment section, right? If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe because I'll be doing a lot of other problems just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.